Good evening and welcome to the 14th Regulators and Policymakers Retreat being organized by IPPI with the support of the Ministry of Power and the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy Government of India. We are honored to have the presence of Shri Devendra Chaudhary, who is Additional Secretary, Ministry of Power, Government of India. Welcome to the PI studio, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank IPPI for giving me this opportunity to be here in this wonderful interaction session that I've been having since morning.
What do you think have been the notable successes, sir, and what can we look forward to?
To answer your question specifically, you see, India has been doing a marathon in terms of the power sector progress. I mean, from a level of, I'll just say, for example, the role of the private sector, which is very important from the IPPI's point of view. From a role of only 17,000 megawatt at the end of 2002, it is going to be 101,000 megawatt at the end of the 12th plan. That means a 700% increase. That is the kind of progress which is. You see, there have been a string of interactions in the last 8 to 10 months with the industry, with the bankers, with the state government fora, and with a whole lot of institutional players which affect the power sector. After all, as you know, 8 to 9% growth in the power sector is required for a 1% growth in the GDP. Going forward, we are doing a lot of things in the hydro sector now, because the next, what I would say, 10 to 15 years would belong to the hydro sector, apart from the fact that, of course, coal addition will take place. And there are some very good suggestions from the private sector which are coming forward to help tackle the environment issues, tackle the people issues, tackle the infrastructure issues, and that way it has been a great help, I would say, in terms of the interaction.
So, in terms of hydro, there is a perception amongst Indian think tanks and industry that once China starts to come up with these hydro projects on the rivers that it has upstream, which then come downstream into India, then we will not have those same riparian rights and we will not be able to set up hydel capacities then. So, is there an urgency on the part of the ministry as well as industry to get our hydro projects off and running?
Well, the answer is a part yes and a big no. And the reason is as follows. You see, hydro potential has to be tapped per se in India. That is a non-issue. Why? We have 150,000 capacity, we have been able to tap about 42,000, so there is about 100,000 balance left to tap. I might assure you that about 75% of the potential is already either under construction or under survey or under statutory clearance, which means what? It has got allotted, there are stakeholders to it and they are taking it forward. As far as China is concerned, yes, it is going ahead with its hydro development program, but the kind of strategy that we have put in place in terms of tapping the potential of the Brahmaputra on our side of the country, I think we will be able to tap the required potential, and there is no issue of a threat or any such negative impact of the Chinese hydro sector development on India.
Given that the theme of the retreat, sir, is democracy versus development, do we face challenges as a vibrant democracy where every stakeholder can raise a voice and can indeed stop a particular project from going ahead by putting a public interest litigation in the court?
Excellent question once again. And again the answer is a small yes and a big no. I'll tell you why. Let me start with China. China, of course, was able to do certain things in the system which it could do because of the system. But I can assure you today, it cannot easily set up a Three Gorges dam. 2, democracy to my mind is the best way to administer oneself. In a world situation where unless you have people participating in the whole growth process, you will not have the total economic pie which is required to grow as a country, as a nation, as a people, as a citizen.
Very soon we will be having one of the largest grids in the world. If we have these super highways of power, but the arterial roads are going into the final last mile connectivity are not strong enough to send that power into the consumption areas, how do we ensure that there is this balance that is maintained, sir?
Part of it is because of the fact that the DISCOMs and the utilities at the state level have somewhere along the line not been able to match the revenues with the costs of power, and as a result of which there has been a problem in terms of being able to finance, say, the procurement of power or to build the infrastructure support required for it. The government of India is doing its bit and an honorable bit and a large bit in terms of the Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana. Apart from this, the government of India has launched something called the Financial Restructuring Plan, which will make the DISCOMs at the end of the day more healthy, even while making them more responsible in terms of reducing their AT&C losses and doing the balance sheet right.
This particular rehabilitation package that you've come out for DISCOMs is one of the big stories in the power sector in the last 1.5 years. How do we ensure that cost recovery is there so that the DISCOM business is viable, because that is really where the money is coming into the sector from, sir?
Actually, that's pretty simple to answer. The way the FRP is structured, the state government which is going to participate in the FRP process has to do two very fundamental things, or rather three very fundamental things. First of all, in the liabilities, it has to take equity.
Right.
First point. So the liability is going to come on the balance sheet of the state government.
Right.
Second point, the loan itself, which is the balance part, is getting restructured by the banks, but with conditions. A, you will reduce your AT&C losses. B, you will reduce your ARR and ACS gap. So I would believe that with the state government or the utilities, obviously wanting power to supply to the people, they cannot get away from that. They will positively look at it, and I must assure you that the state governments are looking positively at it, and we are very happy in the government of India that we are seeing a lot of positive response.
So I would agree with you on this. For example, there are some very good news stories emanating from Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, which have now achieved 24/7 power again after 2-3 years of a lot of deficits. Gujarat was always a front runner. So what can the other states learn from these particular experiences, these successful case studies on last mile connectivity and viability of the power sector?
Excellent. You see, today we had this presentation from Maharashtra MSCTCL, and then of course we have participants from other states. What they can learn are three basic things. Number one, that while finance is an issue, what is important is to have a very professional work culture, a professional accountability, and a commitment to complete a project in time. And these are things which are not rocket science, but definitely once they can be given as examples, then one can learn from it. And I would go to the extent of organizing a workshop so that we can bring the success stories to the table of the people who would benefit from it. And I think such an exchange of ideas, such an exchange of experience will benefit both, not only the persons who have learnt it, but also the persons, and more so them, who would wish to learn from it and deploy it in their own state. And I see a lot of hope there, because as I said, a lot of positive things are happening in the entire sector lately, and we are going to get out of the glitch that we had in the system and let the power sector grow as before.
So thank you for coming to the retreat, sir.
Thank you very much too.
Thank you, sir.